Hey, Sarah here. In this one, someone finally stopped playing nice and protected what really mattered. Okay, let's get into it. If you have never tried to get a 6-year-old ready for school while living in a family shelter, here is the short version. It is like running a small airport, except the passengers are emotional. The security line is shame, and you are doing it all with one sock missing. That morning, the missing sock belonged to Laya. She held up one pink sock with a unicorn and one white sock that used to be white. She looked at them like they were evidence in a crime scene. "Mom," she whispered, the way kids do when they are trying to help you not fall apart. "It is okay. I can wear different socks." Maya stared at her daughter and forced a smile. Bold fashion choice. Laya grinned. "Very. I do what I want." And just like that, for half a second, Maya forgot where they were. Then the shelter door opened behind them, and the cold slapped her right back into reality. They were outside St. Bridge Family Shelter. 6:12 in the morning, the sky still a bruised gray. The sidewalk was damp. The air had that winter smell, metallic and clean, like the world had been scrubbed too hard. Laya adjusted her backpack, which was bigger than she was. Maya tugged the zipper up on her puffy coat and tried not to look at the sign above the entrance. Family shelter. It was not even the word shelter that got her. It was the word family. Like they were a category. Like they were a label on a box. "Okay," Maya said, forcing brightness into her voice. "School bus in 5 minutes." Laya nodded. She was brave in a quiet way that made Maya feel both proud and guilty at the same time. Then she asked softly, "Do I still have to say my address when Mrs. Cole asks?" Maya's stomach clenched. "I do not think she will ask today." Laya did not push. She just looked down at her shoes and then back up at her mother like she was memorizing her face. Like she was checking if Maya was still Maya. "Mom, are we going to move again?" Maya opened her mouth and nothing came out. And that is when a black sedan slid to the curb like it belonged there. Not a taxi. Not an Uber. Not the kind of car that ever pulled up to St. Bridge unless it took a wrong turn and regretted it. The door opened and a woman stepped out in a tailored coat the color of midnight. Evelyn Hart, Maya's grandmother. She had not seen her in over a year. She knew that because her life had been measured in before everything fell apart, and after, and Evelyn belonged firmly in before. She looked exactly the way she always did. Composed, elegant, and slightly terrifying, not in a cruel way. And an eye once ended a boardroom argument by raising one eyebrow way. Her gaze landed on Maya first. Recognition, then confusion. Then it landed on Laya. Something changed in her face. Something quick and sharp, like a crack in glass. She looked up at the sign above the entrance. Then she looked back at Maya. "Maya," she said, and the name sounded strange in her voice, like she had not said it out loud in a long time. "What are you doing here?" Maya's first instinct was to lie. Not because she thought Evelyn would judge her, because she could not stand being seen. "I am fine," she said, which is the default lie of exhausted women everywhere. "We are okay. It is temporary." Evelyn's eyes moved down to Leia's mismatched socks and then to Maya's hands, red and dry from too much sanitizer, too much cold, too much life. Her voice went quieter. "Maya, why are you not living in your house on Hawthorne Street?" The world tilted. Maya blinked at her. "My what?" "The house," Evelyn said, enunciating the words. "On Hawthorne Street." Maya's heart started pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. "What house? I do not have a house." Evelyn stared at her as if she had spoken in another language. Maya could see the calculation behind her eyes. She was running numbers in her head, timelines, possibilities, lies. Laya tugged Maya's sleeve. "Mom," she whispered, "do we have a house?" Maya looked down at her daughter. Her eyes were wide, hopeful in a way that hurt. "No, honey," Maya said gently. "We do not." Evelyn's face went very still, and when Evelyn's heart went still, it usually meant something was about to break. "Get in the car," Evelyn said. Maya blinked. "Get in the car," she repeated, and there was no room in her tone for negotiation. 6 months earlier, Maya was still working as a nursing assistant at St. Jude's Medical Center. 12-hour shifts, call lights going off like a slot machine, people asking her for things she did not have. Time. Answers. Miracles. She was exhausted, but she was surviving. Then she moved in with her parents. It was supposed to be temporary. It always starts with temporary. Her father, Robert, had that calm, reasonable voice that people believe. Her mother, Diane, had that soft smile that made her sound like she was doing you a favor even when she was cutting you off at the knees. "You can stay with us until you get back on your feet," Diane said. "Laya needs stability. Family supports family." Maya should have heard the fine print hiding in that sentence. But she did not. At first it was tolerable. The apartment was small, but they made it work. Leia slept in Maya's old room. Maya worked. She paid what she could. She kept her head down. Then the comments started. Not big, obvious attacks. Little ones. The kind that do not look like cruelty if you tell someone about them later. "You are always tired," Diane would say. "Maybe you should organize your life better," Robert would sigh when Leia's toys were on the floor. "We are just trying to keep the place nice." And then one night, after Maya had come home from a double shift with her feet aching and her brain half dead, Diane sat down at the kitchen table like she was about to deliver a diagnosis. "We need to talk. We think it is time you became independent. You have been here long enough." "I am trying," Maya said, keeping her voice even. "Rents are high, deposits are." "You are a mother," Diane said. "If you are a good mother, you will figure it out." The words hit Maya so hard she actually looked around like someone else must have said them. Robert cleared his throat. 30 days. "That is reasonable. We are not monsters." Maya wanted to scream, but screaming never helped in that apartment. It just gave them something to point at later. So she nodded. Okay. She tried. She looked at listings during her breaks at the hospital, thumbs scrolling while she gulped cafeteria coffee. She called places. She got told the same thing over and over. First and last month, deposit, proof of income, credit check. Sorry, we chose another applicant. Every day, she felt like she was running uphill with Leia on her back. And then came the night they decided 30 days was actually a suggestion. It was after a late shift. She had helped a confused elderly man back into bed 3 times, cleaned up a spilled tray, held a woman's hand while she cried because she was scared of surgery. Maya came home after midnight. The hallway light outside her parents' apartment was on. Her stomach tightened immediately. 2 cardboard boxes sat outside the door. Her boxes? She stared at them for a long second, like her brain refused to accept the shape of what she was seeing. Then she tried the doorknob. Locked. She knocked. Silence. She knocked again, harder. Finally, the door cracked open. Diane's face appeared. Calm. "As if this was a normal Tuesday, you need to keep your voice down," she whispered sharply. "Neighbors. Why are my things outside?" Robert's voice came from behind her. "Bored. We told you, Maya. Independence. It has not been 30 days. Diane's expression hardened just slightly. "Plans change." Maya glanced past her shoulder into the entryway. Laya was curled up on the floor right by the shoe rack, her little jacket folded under her head like a pillow, half asleep. Shoes still on, like they had put her there hours ago, so Maya could scoop her up and disappear without waking the whole apartment. "Where are we supposed to go?" Diane's smile came back, thin and satisfied. "You will figure it out. You always do." And then, as if she were doing Maya a favor, she added, "Do not make a scene." Maya stood there with her boxes in the hallway, the air buzzing in her ears. She stepped inside just long enough to crouch and slide her arms under Laya. Her daughter made a tiny, sleepy sound and automatically wrapped herself around Maya's neck. As Maya backed out into the hall, Diane's hand was already on the door. The door closed. Laya stirred. "Mom?" "It is okay," Maya lied automatically. "We are having a sleepover." She shoved the boxes into her car and drove. She does not remember most of that night. Streetlights, the way her hands shook on the steering wheel. Sitting in the car with Leia asleep across the back seat, her small body curled like a question mark, thinking over and over, how did this happen? The next day, she tried to fix it because that is what Maya does. She fixes things, she wipes down messes, she lifts people who cannot lift themselves. She called Diane. No answer. She called Robert. He answered once. "We are doing this because we love you," he said like he was reading from a script. Tough love. Then he hung up. By day 3, her cheeks were hollow from stress and her stomach hurt from cheap gas station food. She tried a motel. 1 night, 2, then the money ran out. A school counselor noticed Leia was quiet, asked if everything was okay. Maya lied. Then the counselor asked again, gently, and Maya saw Leia watching her with those big eyes, learning from her mother how to lie to survive. So she told the truth. And 2 days later, she was filling out shelter intake forms while Laya sat beside her, swinging her legs. The intake worker was kind but tired, like she had seen too much. "We need your information." "Where did you stay last night?" "In my car," Maya said. The woman nodded like she was checking a box. Laya leaned toward Maya and whispered too loudly, "Is this our house now?" The woman flinched. Maya smiled too hard. No, sweetheart." That night, Leia fell asleep on a narrow bed beside Maya in a room that smelled like bleach and overcooked food. Maya lay awake listening to the sounds of other families behind thin walls. Coughing, babies crying, someone whispering it is okay over and over like a prayer. Maya thought about calling her grandmother. Evelyn Hart was not the kind of woman you called to cry. She was the kind of woman you called when you needed a problem solved. But Diane had spent years training Maya not to bother her. Your grandmother hates drama. She does not like weakness. Do not embarrass yourself. And when Maya texted Diane after the lockout asking if Evelyn knew what was happening, Diane responded instantly. "Grandma is overseas. She is busy. Do not drag her into this." So Maya did not call. She told herself she would handle it. She told herself she did not want to look pathetic. She told herself a lot of things. And then on a cold winter morning, her grandmother stepped out of a black sedan outside a shelter and asked her why she was not living in her house on Hawthorne Street. Back in the sedan, Evelyn's phone was already in her hand. Maya did not hear the other voice, only Evelyn's side, sharp enough to cut glass. "Who signed for the keys? A beat, and the house is occupied?" Evelyn did not react like someone surprised. She reacted like someone confirming what she had already suspected. "Send the file to Adam." "Everything." She ended the call and looked at Maya. "I arranged a house for you," she said. "On Hawthorne Street. Your parents were supposed to manage the handoff. Keys, move in, all of it. They told me it was done." Maya gripped the edge of the seat. "Why would you not tell me directly?" "Because I trusted your parents," Evelyn said, "which was my mistake, not yours." Then Evelyn made another call. Low voice, clipped. Efficient, Maya only caught pieces. Hawthorne file, clean summary, key log, listing history. Tenant payments, yes, today. When she hung up, Evelyn said simply, "You are not going back to that shelter." Maya's pride tried to stand up and argue. Her exhaustion shoved it back down. "Okay," she whispered. An hour later, Laya was bouncing on a hotel bed like it was a trampoline, and the world had never been cruel. She found the little complimentary soap, sniffed it dramatically, and announced it smelled like a fancy grandma. That night, after Laya fell asleep in clean sheets, Evelyn finally spoke again. Your parents are hosting an event, important to them. A venue, relatives, speeches, the whole performance. Maya's stomach tightened. When? Soon. And we will be there. She did not say it like a threat. She said it like a decision already made. 3 days later, Maya stood in the hotel bathroom staring at herself in the mirror. Evelyn had insisted she buy a dress. Not an expensive one, just a clean one. You do not need armor, she had said. You need dignity. On the ride over, Maya's stomach twisted so hard she thought she might be sick. What if I freeze? Then I will speak, Evelyn said. What if they deny everything? They will. What if everyone thinks I am... Evelyn glanced at her. Maya, you have survived worse than a room full of liars. The event was at a hotel ballroom. Soft lighting, hard smiles. A sign by the entrance read Hart Collins Family Dinner. Inside, there were relatives Maya had not seen in months. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people with opinions. At the far end of the room, there was a projector screen set up and a microphone, because Diane could not serve dinner without also serving a narrative. Maya walked in first. The chatter softened, then resumed the way people do when they sense something, but do not want to be the first to acknowledge it. Then Diane saw her. Her smile appeared automatically, then glitched like a bad connection. Her eyes flicked over Maya's dress, her posture, the fact that she was not wearing I am drowning on her face anymore. Neither of them moved toward Maya. They did not ask where she had been. They did not ask how Laya was. They did what people do when they are trying to calculate danger. They smiled and waited. A minute later, the room temperature changed. Evelyn Hart entered, calm, unhurried, completely in control. Beside her was a man with a slim folder and a laptop bag. The kind of person who looked like he had never raised his voice in his life because he did not need to. Diane went pale. Evelyn nodded to a few relatives like she was simply attending dinner. Then she looked at Diane. Before we eat, I would like to clear up something you told me. Diane's smile tightened. Of course, Mom. You told me Maya was living in the house on Hawthorne Street. The room quieted. Diane's eyes darted. She set her glass down. Well, she said, laughing too fast. Yes, she... Evelyn held up a hand. Let us not do this with guessing. Let us do it with facts. She nodded to the man with the laptop. He stepped forward and plugged into the venue projector. The first slide appeared. Hawthorne Street. Summary. A murmur ran through the room. Diane's mouth opened. Nothing came out. This house was arranged for Maya and Laya, Evelyn said. Next slide. Keys released to Diane Hart Collins. July. She let that sit for half a second. Then another slide. A listing screenshot. The Hawthorne house marketed as a furnished rental. Photos of the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom. People leaned forward. Diane's hands started to shake. Next. A lease summary. Tenants moved in. August. And then the slide that made the room go dead quiet. A payment instruction page from the property manager file. Rent payout account provided by Diane and Robert. Diane, Evelyn said, and her voice did not rise. You did not just take the keys. You rented out the home meant for my granddaughter and my great-granddaughter. And you had the rent sent to an account you controlled. Robert snapped first. This is inappropriate, he barked. This is a family event. Yes, Evelyn said. That is why I am doing it here. Diane's voice went thin and frantic. We were going to tell her. It was temporary. We needed. Temporary, Evelyn repeated. Her eyes flicked toward the side room where Laya was coloring, unseen but present. You displaced a child. She paused just long enough. For profit. Someone gasped. Someone whispered, "You have got to be kidding." Diane started crying. Real tears this time. "We had debts you do not understand." Evelyn's expression did not change. "I understand enough, and I am done funding your choices." She turned so everyone could hear. "Starting now, Diane and Robert receive nothing from me. No more help. No more transfers. No inheritance." Robert's face twisted. "You cannot." "I can," Evelyn said. "And I already did." The man with the folder stepped forward. "Diane Collins. Robert Collins. These documents are for you." A uniformed officer stood nearby. Not dramatic, not aggressive, just present. Diane stared at the papers like they were radioactive. Robert took them with shaking hands, then looked around the room and finally understood the worst part. This was not a fight anymore. It was a reputation collapsing in public. "You will not contact Maya," Evelyn said. "You will cooperate, and you will answer for what you did." Diane turned to Maya then, eyes wild. "Maya," she begged, "tell her to stop. We are family." Something inside Maya went cold and clear. "You should have remembered that," she said quietly, "before you made a business out of my daughter's home." Maya did not stay for the aftermath. She walked out of the banquet room, down the hallway, and opened the door to the private room. Laya looked up, cheeks full of crackers. "Mom." "Are we done?" Maya crouched and hugged her so tight she squeaked. "Yeah, we are done." Laya leaned back and looked at Maya's face carefully, like she was checking for storms. Then she asked softly, "Can we go home?" Maya swallowed hard. "Yes, we can." 6 months later, their life is boring in the best way. They live on Hawthorne Street now. Leah has her own room, her own curtains, a crooked art gallery of drawings taped to the wall. She walks to school like the world has always been safe. Maya is still a nursing assistant, by choice this time. Not because she is stuck, she is finishing her nursing degree one step at a time. And for the first time, her energy goes into the future instead of survival. Evelyn visits on Sunday mornings with pastries and pretends she is only there to see Laya. Laya does not buy it. "Grandma Evelyn," she asks, "do you like our house?" Evelyn always pauses like she is swallowing something heavy. Then she says, "Yes, I do." As for Diane and Robert, turns out you cannot rent out someone else's home, collect the money, and keep calling it family. The rent they took did not stay free. They were forced to repay it. The investigation that followed made their respectable image evaporate. Once Evelyn cut them off, their hidden debts showed up like roaches under a flipped light switch. People stopped inviting them, calls stopped getting answered. Diane tried to contact Maya, not to apologize, to negotiate. Maya blocked the number. Because she is done bargaining for basic decency. So, what do you think? Did Evelyn go too far or not far enough? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, 1, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.